In an ideal world, I would not be making this type of video, but we don't live in an ideal world, do we? Like, we should be this well-oiled machine that is Manchester United, that has, had a credible history, and all we're going to do is just go forward trying to make new parts of history. And don't get me wrong, we're making history, just for all the wrong reasons, but we should be in a position as the club that we are, where we're not even allowing an event such as losing the Europa League final, which is bad by any stretch of the imagination for any team, but we wouldn't be in a position where that almost directly correlates with the type of transfers and business that we're able to do. I mean, we are, according to Forbes and all these other, major listers, we are the second biggest revenue maker of any football club in the world behind Real Madrid. And we blitz most people in our current climate in the UK, and yet we are well behind all of them. And this is where, unfortunately, we have to discuss the potential transfer of Bruno Fernandes, which is starting to gather pace. So before we get into it, please drop a like on the video, not because you want Bruno Fernandes to go, but just because it will make me happy. And if you drop a like on the video on this and then on the others, then it will allow me to do more. So hopefully I'll make you happy, And then if you subscribe, make everybody happy. Because I have actually just sorted out a really cool giveaway for 5k. I wasn't sure about it in the last video. I'm sure now 5k there's going to be a good one. 10k there's going to be an insane one. So let's get to 5k and let's hit that 10. So please like and subscribe. If you're enjoying the content in general, if you're new, this is the non-toxic Manchester United channel. Like, I could sit here for ages calling people names, calling players everything under the sun, just to reflect how I feel. But I want this to be the healthiest and most thriving community for Man United fans to properly discuss the biggest club in the world, which is Manchester United. So if you want to be a part of that, subscribe if you are new and drop a like on the video and get in the comments, because I see and try to respond to every single one. And I imagine there's going to be a lot of talk and a lot of comments regarding Bruno Fernandes. And I mean, I've got my list here. And where do we even start? I mean, the first thing that I want to really hone in on are the potential pros and cons of this deal, and also where we stand right now. So I'll give you a full update on what's going on with the deal and the pros and cons, or at least in my opinion. So we don't have to spend too long to go through what he brings to Manchester United. I mean, Bruno has, since he came in, he's become Mr. Manchester United. He's become the guy where if something's going wrong in a game, which it so often has, especially recently, or if nothing's really happening, you can point to a player like him and be like, get us out of it, will you, mate? That would be nice. And he has done that well. I mean, we look at the type of stats that he's been putting up. I mean, his average, which is just ridiculous, over the seasons that he's been in, I think he's been there just about 7 seasons now, his average is 31.4 goals and assists in all competitions for Manchester United per season. That, for any player coming into Manchester United, is insane at any era. But in this era, to come in and put those levels up consistently, and he's rarely been out injured. I think I saw a figure the other day that he's been out injured for 8 games in total during that time for Man United. There's players in the squad now who are earning hundreds of thousands of pounds that haven't even played 8 games this season. There's no substitute for his level of talent, for his level of accountability, his versatility, and also his availability. That is the overwhelming nature of what Bruno Fernandes has brought to Manchester United. He's also grown since getting the captaincy, which I wasn't sure he was going to be able to do, because I cited him out as one of the whinier characters. I think everyone did at the time, where it was thinking about giving it to him once Harry Maguire had been kind of passed to one side. But he's grown since then. We've been able to make 5 finals, in 3 years. We've won 3. No, we won 2, 3 of those. How many have we won? I just lost count. But do you understand what I mean? Like, we have been winning some things, and even in our worst periods of time, we've been able to make it to finals and to get trophies. And this is the season where not only has the league form gone horrendously below where it should be, but we haven't been able to win anything. So we can't let that get away from the fact that Bruno Fernandes is a key man for the key moment, and he's been pivotal in any of the good points that we've had. Some might say that he's been also, if he's going to be praised for that, he should also be held accountable to the bad times we've had. And I completely understand that. And you can't have one without the other. Totally get it. And the current situation is, Saudi Pro Leagues have been sniffing around him for a while. This was even before his contract extension. And they're still sniffing. More specifically, Al-Hilal are looking at him and thinking this could be our guy. And Al-Hilal are famously the ones who lost out on a lot of money with the Neymar deal and probably continue to lose a lot of money on that deal, regardless of how that ends up. But they want another big signing. And I've even seen reports like Nassr, although they're not in for him, they're currently renegotiating Cristiano's contract and they want a world-class midfielder, which is what Bruno Fernandes is. And I would have thought Kevin De Bruyne would go there, but it seems he's on his way to Napoli. So this sort of transfer domino effect is really starting to gather pace. And Bruno Fernandes could be, for Man United, one of the biggest transfer dominoes we've ever had. Because as it stands, Al-Hilal, or if you believe what Fabrizio Romano's been saying, what David Ornstein's been saying, like, they are prepared, well, more so Romano is saying this particular thing, but they are prepared to do whatever it takes to get Bruno Fernandes to the club, and equally to do whatever it takes to prize him out of the hands of Manchester United. Now, there is generational money on offer for Bruno Fernandes. And if this is just a personal thing, saying, is it best for him? You've served Manchester United with distinction, as you have with Sporting. I don't care what anyone says. You are the best. This is to Bruno Fernandes. You are the best post-Fergie signing that we've had in the last 10 to 15 years, obviously. And you are a brilliant human being. And you've routinely done things that prove you're worthy of the captaincy. And regardless of what people are saying, because of the outside looking in, I think you would be welcomed into the dressing room of even our best sides. Maybe I don't know about getting into the starting 11, you never know, because we had some of the best ever, but you'd be welcomed into that dressing room with your mentality and with your talent. And, that can't be mistaken. And now he's got a generational offer to more than triple his 250k a week wage at Manchester United in a tax-free haven in Saudi Arabia. And that's not just money for his family, but for theirs and probably the one after that. This is multi-generational money in the next couple of years that we're looking at. And don't get me wrong, he's on multi-generational money now, but you can do that in a different climate where there's fewer eyeballs attached to you and where he can actually enjoy his football away from the spotlight, with the World Cup coming up, which I'm sure if Ronaldo's a part of it in Saudi, Bruno will be a part of it too. So it's a lot. And what I will say is that in terms of the bids that are being talked about, in terms of the money that is being talked about, the round £100 million figure is what people have said. And you can't escape that is a ridiculous amount of money for a 31-year-old. But no official bid at this point of making this video on the 2nd of June has been lodged yet. But that can change very, very quickly. And you also got to look at the future. I mean, I've put in a note here saying, how is Amorim utilising him now? And can you tell me what Bruno's best position is in this system? I'm not sure, because is he an 8? Is he a 6? Is he a 10? Like, he's obviously not a 6, but he plays a sitting midfield role. He's played all over the park. And, Ruben Amorim's system does thrive on the accountability of each player to do what they set out to do. It's not that they have to do that and nothing else. I think there's a massive misconception when it comes to his system, because you see the interchanging of players and positions when they're in the attack or when they're defending. So you do need just good high level technical footballers, which of course Bruno Fernandes is. But then on the transition or in possession, it's like what position does he pick up? And because he is Bruno Fernandes and the nature of the guy that he is, he wants to take the ball and make things happen. And that's something that we have lacked. Genuinely, we have lacked a player who can take accountability in the moments where we need them to. And too many just either fall by the wayside or they just don't want to be part of it. And Bruno's not one of those guys, and I commend him a lot for that. But then there'll also be people who will say, well, because he's doing everything, then not only does that shoulder the responsibility and take it away from other players, but that kind of is the reason why his stats are so high. I mean, he is brilliant, of course he is, but then we need other players to be able to do that, because right now, when Bruno doesn't play, because of the nature of the players that we've got and the squad that we've built, it's who can do Bruno's role. And it's not what Bruno does for the team or what this person does for the team. It's like, who can do that? Who can do this person? Who can, when he's gone, who can fill their shoes? That's not what it's supposed to be. We've seen it really well this season, in my opinion, when Lisandro Martinez has been out. Like, he's very good at what he does, but then who can play line breaking passes? Who can run to the middle of the park, who can stretch defenses, who can switch when necessary. Yoro and Aiden Heaven have done very well at that when they've been brought in. So this is what I'm talking about with Bruno. It's like, it's not just a one-size-fits-all thing with Amorim's system. And if he does leave for in excess of 100 million quid, then you would imagine that that money gets, taken into different areas of the squad. It's not just going to be 100 million pounds on a like-for-like Bruno replacement, because one, I don't think one really exists. Maybe Florian Wirtz, but he's on his way to Liverpool. And even that, like, they're getting Wirtz, like City are getting the likes of Ait Nouri, which is released today, Cherki potentially, Frimpong's already gone to Liverpool. We don't need to fall further behind. Do you know what I mean? Because Arsenal will make a move soon on their key targets. We need to, really see what budget we have to work with for the rest of the season. And it's a bit of a blessing in disguise that this news has come so early in the window. Because if it does happen, we're allowed to see what we want to do moving forward. But I don't want Bruno Fernandes to go. I don't. And I think every Manchester United fan will agree with me and say that he has been our best signing post Sir Alex Ferguson, bar none. And he's, like I said, he's grown in stature, he's grown in accountability, and he's gotten even better as the seasons have gone on. And even if we've gone one way, Bruno Fernandes has almost gone the other way. So I respect him immensely, and I think he's a wonderful footballer, and he should be remembered as that, regardless of what happens. But I liken this situation to what happened with Coutinho in Liverpool, because Coutinho was their main man, a bit younger obviously, and going to Barcelona rather than going to Saudi, but they got like 150 million for him, and it wasn't taking, but they got around 150 million for him, and it wasn't taking that 150 million and spending it on a Coutinho replacement. But that is what enabled the likes of Alisson and Van Dijk to come later on, because they put the money to one side with big targets in mind and then attack when they are supposed to get them, rather than just a knee-jerk reaction to find a like-for-like replacement. And I think with Manchester United, should this deal go through, I think that's what we would do, because we're not operated by the same people who spent 80 million on Anthony or 70 million on Casemiro or like 60, 70 million on Højlund. We're not run by the same people anymore. We're run by those who have got Matheus Cunha to come in on installments. The same with Xerxes. Very good deals for Chido Obi and Aiden Heaven and Diego Leon and all these other kind of young players, as well as the established pros, to build out a proper squad and to do it with a good level of financial acumen involved, rather than just throwing money at the problem and hoping that it will fix itself. We're not doing that anymore, and I do have faith that if we were to bring in a clean, I mean, it's Saudi money, it's not that clean, but if we were to bring in like a clean 120 plus million pounds in for Bruno Fernandes for a 31-year-old, and then take the £250,000 per week off of our wage bill, then we could do some serious damage with that, because we need a new goalkeeper. And I think one could be available as well in Joan Garcia, for example, or Sene Lamons, who are both available for around the £20 million mark. That doesn't even scratch that. That's 1/6 of the 120 million that you could bring in, and you could structure it again better, so you could finance more deals later on in the window. But it would also show, and I don't really want this to be the case, but it would show a bit of a power play that, if Bruno's not safe, nobody is, because we know we're going to get rid of a lot of players. So I love Bruno Fernandes. I really wish we weren't in this situation where we have to consider selling him for the financial benefit. Really, as Man United, we should be staunch and resolute in where we are and saying, we're Man United, he's our best player, get out. And unfortunately, that's not the reality that we're in. But this, if we were to manufacture this deal into something that could genuinely benefit us, then it could benefit us for quite a few years to come. So I think that, overall, again, I've just said it, I don't want us to be in this situation, but the fact that we are, I think keeping a legend for about 2 to 3 years at the highest level, which I think is what Bruno Fernandes will be able to give out. Like, let's say he plays till he's about 34, 35. You can't expect this level of output from a 35-year-old Bruno Fernandes. He could do that, but it's too much of a risk, right? Especially in where we are in today's transfer market. But taking that risk and having 2 to 3 years potentially of that, if the risk pays off, we're pitting that against signing multiple players under the Ineos model that have a shelf life of about 4 or 5 times that. And that is unfortunately where we are. So in conclusion, if I'm Ineos, would I sell Bruno Fernandes? Depends on the money. It just does. If they come in with an offer of 120 million, I would see us try and get close to 150. And this is purely because it's Saudi as well. I've seen the amount of money that's been paid out, and I'm sorry, but we need to recoup some of the funds of the past. And this is where Ineos are also, need a little bit of slack. Because like I say, they're not responsible for the deals that came before them. But they're straddled with them now. They have to deal with them in terms of the debt and deals that they can bring in. So I hope that whatever it is, it's good for Bruno, it's good for his family, it's good for the multiple generations of Fernandeses that are to come. And for us, that we're given a good amount of money, because based off the first full window that we had, when we had the likes of Ugarte, Xerxes, De Ligt, Mazraoui, all these players come in for decent deals, fairly structured, smartly structured and considerately structured in terms of where we are. I have faith that Ineos will spend that a hell of a lot better than what the previous ones would have done. If this was the previous regime, put it this way, if this was the previous regime that had spent all the money that we've been doing so far, like since Sir Alex left, absolutely not. Don't sell Bruno Fernandes, because I don't trust them at all. And they're not trustworthy people to do that stuff with. But this time, I think it would be different. That being said, I mean, we've signed Cunha already, and that I'm not looking at Cunha as a ready-made Bruno replacement. I think he works better with Bruno. I think those two would be brilliant together, which is why I'm so swayed on the issue. But that's a 26-year-old attacking midfielder who we already have brought in. Not only does this finance his deal completely, but lets us go for the rest. And look at that as an example, right? Because the Cunha deal is 3 installments. And it was 62.5 million overall. So it's like 20.8 million that we have to commit in this window. Imagine we get 100 plus, just like that. And 250k off the wage bill. It's not small amounts of money, is it? But I am conflicted. I'm completely conflicted. But I see both parts of the argument, which is why I wanted to make this video, to show both parts of it. Because either we lose Bruno Fernandes and that's it, and we don't do very well at it, or we can recruit well and it's a good decision, or we keep him, which could turn out to be the worst decision because he could go on the decline, or it could be the best decision because we elevate around him and we get some of the other players out. And really, I think that's what a lot of people are annoyed about, that we're focusing on selling Bruno Fernandes when the likes of Jadon Sancho and Rashford and all these other players who are causing us trouble, like in any sense, are still at the club, and you get out the good guy. So I do understand it, but let me know in the comments. I'm still conflicted by it, but let me know in the comments what you think about whether we should sell Bruno Fernandes or not. This whole video was what would happen if we did. I feel like I've covered that quite well, because I think we would reinvest the money quite well, kind of like the Liverpool Coutinho situation, and that sorted them out for years to come. I don't think anyone misses Coutinho at that club. With all due respect to all of them, I don't think anyone's thinking that was a bad thing to do. Could it be our Coutinho moment? It genuinely could. Could it be like a Thomas Lemar or whatever moment, like where we just get in the money and we don't use it? Who knows? But let me know what you think of the impending Bruno Fernandes departure if he does go, and also who you would bring in, because I've seen, and before I leave, actually, I want to exercise cautions. Don't believe everything you read, because today I just saw that we're interested in getting Mitrovic from Al-Hilal. It's just never going to happen, is it? So let's be firm and fair with what we're looking at here, and don't believe everything you read. But please do, drop a like on the video if you've enjoyed it. Click the subscribe button, and I will be doing more transfer-related videos, not just, like this, filming and editing and then, putting out, but I want to do lives where I get kind of updated information for you guys as well, not just about Man United, but from what I think could be a massive domino effect throughout football. So thank you so much for watching. As always, we're nearly at 4.2 thousand subscribers. When I sat here last time, we were at 3.5, I think. So we're growing. This is really cool. Thank you so much for your support, everyone, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.